Welcome back to our Steven. I'm your host, Steven, and I'm trying to decide if I really do need app notifications turned on from Domino's. And today, from suing your own friend to a roommate hearing a bit too much at night, we get to decide in these stories if any of these people are jerks, all starting with a post titled, "Am I the jerk for avoiding my mom after she told me to suck it up when I broke my fingers?" I was at the gym where a heavy weight fell onto 3 of the fingers on my left hand. I was in such severe pain that I thought I was going to pass out. While sobbing, I called my mom, as I'm at college, far away from home. I told her that I thought I broke my fingers and that I wanted to go to urgent care. My mom has never been empathetic for physical injuries and mental health issues. When she heard me, she told me to suck it up and rest. I figured I would wait for a while. Who knows? She could be right. Edit, I feel I should mention that my fingers did not look deformed, so other than the bruising and swelling, I was unsure if they were broken or not. While waiting, my roommate came home and saw the state that I was in. She took one look at my hand and assured me that we had to go to urgent care. I didn't want to betray my mom because she always said to never go to the ER or urgent care due to our terrible insurance. However, I went and researched the cost of an out-of-pocket x-ray at the nearest urgent care, and it was only $200, which I was willing to pay. I told my mom this, and she said, "You better hope your fingers are broken, or else I'm not helping you pay for anything." So I was under a weird circumstance where I hoped my fingers were broken for the sake of saying, "I told you so," to my mom. I finally went to urgent care and got an x-ray. They confirmed both my pointer and middle fingers were broken and may need surgery if not healed properly. When I called my mom back later that day and told her the news, she basically laughed and told me that I should be glad that they were broken. 3 weeks have gone by and I've not spoken to her since. She's texted me and asked for updates on my fingers, but I feel conflicted on why she's suddenly acting like she cares when she clearly didn't in the first place. She's also not someone you can easily share your feelings with, so I'm not sure how to go about our next conversation. Should I just ignore it or try to bring it up with her? Edit, I wasn't expecting the overflow of not the jerk comments, and I've gotten asked about why I believe I am the jerk. I spoke to my brother about it, and he told me that I was overreacting and that she just wants to check up on me and probably feels bad for diminishing my issues. Well, like many people in OP's comments evidently, feel like OP is not the jerk. Once again, the subtle joys of some facets of the American health system rear their ugly head here. Don't want to go to urgent care at any cost because it might end up costing you a month's worth of rent. I like to think that I have pretty decent insurance, and even my plan says if I so much as check into the emergency room, I'm already on the hook for $600 before anything else was done. A user named WiseRemove left a comment on the post saying, "Not the jerk, but your mom is. Are you adopted, or why is she so mean?" The OP responded, "Not adopted. I believe she grew up conditioned to suck it up through tough times, and unfortunately pushes that idea onto her children." An anonymous user commented, "Is she paying for your college, or just expenses, or..." Because you need to avoid that person from now until the end of time by whatever means necessary, not the jerk. The OP responded, "My family pays my tuition and helps me with a lot of expenses such as rent. Cutting her off would mean cutting them off financially, which I can't afford to do." Another user named Tafifi and Coffee left a comment saying, "Not the jerk. You know how your birth giver is. Don't go to her for medical advice or tell her anything, because otherwise you'll allow her to dictate your health. Ask yourself why you think you would betray your mom when getting required medical help. You even called her to get an okay from her for getting x-rays you wanted to pay for yourself. Is your insurance even this bad, or is it another tool from her to control your health now that you're out of reach physically?" The OP responded, "I think you might be onto something." Edit, I realize this could most definitely be the truth. I have prescription pills I take every night. My mom insists on sending me a package with them inside every month, but it would be easier to just change the pharmacy location to somewhere closer so I could go pick them up myself. Last month, she sent them late on accident and I had to deal with the consequences. I suggested it would be better to change the pharmacy location, but she said that I would be unable to because none of the pharmacies around me take my insurance. I know this to be false because my roommate, who has my same insurance, picks up her medication at the nearest grocery store. Our next story is, am I the jerk for refusing to tell the men in my family about my period? Growing up, my dad said that I had to tell him and my brother each month when I got my period. For background, there were 3 girls and 2 males in the household. This started when I got my period at age 11. His reasoning was that, as a man, he and my brother would need to know when to expect me to be more hormonal. When I pushed back and said I had a right to privacy, he was adamant that it was his right as a man and my father to know when I was on my period. I did not follow up on this and was lectured several times. This was many years ago. The issue is, my mom still thinks this is a courteous thing to do and is kind and communicative. I, on the other hand, disagree and believe it was an invasion of my right to privacy. My father still, of course, believes he had a right to know. So am I the jerk for refusing to tell the men in my household whenever I had my period? So I'm not the only one that thinks this is actually crazy, right? Should I also report to dad every time I have a case of back knee? What about every time somebody gets the runs? Should dad hear about that too, just in case? You never know, it might make you hormonal. Like the sentence, yeah, my dad keeps track of when I have periods. It's just weird, creepy. Makes me think of that one guy that's like a so-and-so biohacker or whatever, and he literally keeps track of like how often his son at night when they sleep gets, as Sir Mix-a-Lot says, sprung. Obviously, the dad isn't like actually tracking and using this for like empirical data, but still, I just don't want to hear about parents going to their kids and saying, you have to tell me every time you get your period. It makes you want to start looking for a number that you can report him to. The OP then went on to post an update. Hello everyone, thank you so much for your responses. You have been incredibly supportive. To answer a few questions that have been coming up. 1. Yes, I was raised very religiously, specifically Christianity. 2. My mom says my father's intent was to be kinder to me because I was very emotional during that time. I personally believe that he should have just been kind to me in general. I would also argue that my brother was more emotional at that age than I was. 3. Some of you mentioned him wanting to make sure I wasn't pregnant, but that was never a concern with me specifically. I didn't date until college, and I had my first kiss in my 20s. My parents knew that. Also, number 3, my brother is totally innocent in all of this, and I don't think had any idea that these conversations were occurring. And 4, I'm an adult now and I'm married. I do communicate my cycle with my husband, but he has never demanded information or proclaimed any rights over my body. It was my choice to be open with him. Besides being a mortified 11-year-old, that was really my biggest issue with my dad. I wanted privacy and autonomy. A user named Fancy and Fab left a comment saying, "This is misogynistic and creepy. He assumes every woman has mood changes on her period. If you brought up anything valid during your time of the month, he would dismiss it as you just being hormonal. You haven't told him all this time. The sun has continued to rise. The world has continued to turn. Why is he still pressed over this? It's controlling and weird, not the jerk." Our next story is, am I the jerk for calling out my best friend for stealing from me? I, 34-year-old female, hosted my best friend, 32-year-old female, for a week recently. We've been friends for over 10 years. I've lived across the country for the last 6. Context, I have a blazer with beaded tassels that she loves. Not that it matters, but it is around $300. She's asked me for it several times over the past 2 years, like, don't you just want to give it to me already? It's more my style and you never wear it. To which I always laugh it off and say that I love that blazer. When she was visiting, she asked again if she could just have it. And I laughed and said, no, I don't want to give it away, but you're welcome to wear it to dinner. Her flight was early Thursday morning. We hugged goodbye, but I was asleep and only heard her make coffee and get ready before leaving. 2 days later, I'm getting dressed and just have this feeling. I look for the blazer in my closet. It's not where it normally is. I look everywhere, including my dirty laundry, because surely she didn't take it. I texted her asking if she knew where it was. Maybe she wore it to dinner and left it in my car and I forgot. No, she took it. She said she was cold and running late for her Uber, and that it was the only thing she was sure would fit her. We have been sharing clothes for over a decade. Everything I own fits her, and she knows it. Beyond that, this blazer was in the back of my closet. She had to go past 10 oversized sweaters and hoodies to get it, and my oversized hoodie that she had worn the night before was on the couch next to the door. I've always been very generous with my stuff. In fact, I gave her a few things from Reformation this trip because I don't wear them and she liked them. I truly feel like since I said no to this, she decided to just take it because she wanted it. So I responded with, "What the heck?" She made the same excuses again and then just said that she would mail it back next week. I called bullcrap for all the reasons I stated above and told her that's weirdo behavior and I'm ticked. I told her to mail it back and that I need space. Am I the jerk for being mad about this? Is it crazy to not even want to be close friends anymore, whether she mails the blazer back or not? So I'd like to give my opinion on that last question up front, which is, no, it is not crazy. To restate what OP said, they said this blazer is worth around $300. This isn't some ratty old band t-shirt that just only has a lot of meaning to you but not much value. I mean, this supposed friend opened OP's closet, essentially literally took 3 Benjamins out of OP's closet and dashed out the door hoping to just get away with it. I think I would have actually have appreciated it if they were like, you know what, I took it and I'm sorry, I wanted it that bad, it was a horrible thing for me to do, I'll send it back. At least if something like that happened, they would actually confront it and recognize it. There's no way you can go back to being friends when they hit you with the whole, well, I was cold and I was on my way to my Uber and it was the only option right there. A user named Millie Bitterness left a comment saying, "Not the jerk. How is she your best friend? I don't understand the friendships people describe on here. This isn't how a friend acts. She sounds like an acquaintance." The LP responded, "Well, this is the first time she's done something like this, so..." A user named Ver1989 left a comment saying, "I mean, ish? She asked you for it repeatedly after you said no a bunch of times, so this is not the first time she refused to take your no as a final answer. What was her reaction when you called bullcrap?" The OP responded, "Valid. She doubled down and said that she was cold and sleepy and confused and said she would mail it back when she got settled." The whole thing is sus, but I think me having to discover that it was missing really tipped me. Our next story is, am I the jerk for not moving back in with my dad just because he got divorced? My mom died when I, 16-year-old female, was a baby. My aunt, my mom's sister, stepped in and became like a second mom to me. When I was 8, she moved for work, so I went from seeing her every day to her flying me out 1 to 2 times a month, plus 1 week of winter break, spring break, and 50-50 over the summer. When I was 12, my dad married Judy, and they kept saying that she was my new mom, and that I don't need to keep visiting my aunt because I have Judy. He also gave my room to Judy's kids since it was bigger and I refused to share, and told my aunt that they decided I couldn't fly alone, so she either had to fly out to get me or drive all day there and back. I decided to stay with my aunt for a few months after my dad married Judy because it was pretty obvious that he cared about his new family more than me. My dad and Judy are getting divorced now because Judy cheated on him, and he found out that their new kids weren't his. He called me and asked me to move back home because he misses me and he doesn't have any family left. I said no because I like it here. My aunt is a way better parent than my dad was, and she's been dating this guy that comes over on weekends and makes us the best burgers and steaks, and he fixes cars up as a hobby and side job, so he's working on one for me. I also really like my school, and I have friends here, and we're really close to a lot of good colleges, so I probably won't even have to move out for college. My dad and his side of the family are upset that I won't move back because he's my dad and he needs me, but he's the one that chose his new family over me, and them getting divorced isn't my problem to solve. I don't really plan to change my mind, but I want to know if me refusing to move back makes me a jerk. So, from the information that we have, we kind of have to infer OP was made an afterthought for probably a very decent amount of time, especially in pretty formative years there. I'm willing to bet OP felt straight up abandoned. So, I myself don't know if I necessarily even agree with the idea that OP would owe them a relationship, let alone moving back home with them. A user named Cassowary32 left a comment saying, "Not the jerk. What's the upside for you? Where has he been for the last 4 years? He just let you go move in with your aunt? That wasn't enough of a sign that the new wife was bad news? Does your aunt have legal custody? Can you emancipate or have her officially adopt you?" The OP responded, "She has legal custody. I don't think she can adopt me without his rights being terminated, but it does mean that he can't make me move back without going to court." Another user named Dedermwerver commented, "Not the jerk. Your dad made choices and choices have consequences. Stay where you're at. You're happy and well-adjusted and you have a life. Stay where you are at. Be careful about visiting your dad too. He might try to keep you there." The OP responded, "I already thought about that. I told my aunt I'm not going back unless she stays with me and we stay in a hotel." Our next story is, would I be the jerk for suing my friend when she didn't come to my wedding? I, 25-year-old female, recently got married to my 25-year-old male husband in Bali, Indonesia in January. It was a destination wedding, but my parents and his parents paid for their own plane tickets and hotel. But we paid for our friends' plane tickets and hotel stays. Each plane ticket was about $2,000 and hotel was maybe about $150 to $300 for a week. My friend Gemma brought along her newlywed husband, John, but paid for his plane ticket. The problem is that Gemma and John did not show up to my wedding. Gemma took the free plane ticket to Bali and the hotel room, and when I asked her why she didn't show up, she said that since they couldn't afford their own honeymoon, that this was the perfect opportunity and that Jim decided that he didn't feel like going. I was really hurt by this since Gemma and I have been friends for over 10 years. Would I be the jerk if I took her to small claims court for the money I spent on the plane ticket and hotel? Always a joy when I can break out the good old acronym, anal. I am not a lawyer. I would say OP's not the jerk, but as far as a legal case goes, I do feel like it's going to be a little hazy. If the plane ticket and the hotel room was gifted with the expectation that it would be used in a certain way, does that mean that they're bound to do that? Or else they'll face legal repercussions? I guess the challenge is, for whatever lawyer OP might acquire, you have to begin the legalese game of trying to prove that there was some kind of understood contract that was exchanged here, although not signed directly. Like, look, as far as I know, all I know is how to yell objection like Phoenix Wright, and that's about it. The OP then added an update to the post saying, "Update. I messaged Gemma, per multiple comments, advising me to invoice her for the plane ticket and hotel room, but I did something a little better. I wanted to get proof, so if I had to go to court, it would be easier to win. I messaged her this. Hey, sorry for being so distant, but I just wanted to talk to you about Bali. I'm hurt that you didn't show up to the ceremony. I pulled a lot of strings to ensure that you could come, and then you didn't show up. Did you think I paid for the trip just so you could honeymoon with John?" She replied, "I've missed you a lot and I know the trip was for your wedding, but John didn't want to go because he felt like your wedding ruined the illusion of the trip being our honeymoon and that you would understand." I replied, "No, I don't understand. You took advantage of me and that's not what real friends do. So I'm sending you an invoice for $2,387.53 for the cost of the plane ticket and hotel room. I will give you 30 days, and after that, I will be taking legal action." I received no response, but she's been posting subliminal quotes on Instagram that are along the lines of entitled friends and having snakes in your life. Thank you all for your verdicts and help. A user named Nzafe left a comment saying, "Can't believe I'm saying this, but not the jerk. Someone offers to give you a free vacation on the condition that you attend one party during that time. I'd be jumping for that opportunity. To take that free vacation and then no call, no show to your friend's wedding is really crappy behavior on their part. They could have extended their stay if they wanted to treat the trip as their own honeymoon. The OP responded, literally. She wasn't even in the wedding party. All she had to do was show up, dance, and eat cake and food. Funny thing enough is that they did go on a honeymoon. It just wasn't abroad. Another user named BlackberryOld5980 left a comment saying, Info, did you in any way, shape, or form send a text, any form of writing, or invitation to the wedding stating that you would cover the travel and hotel for them in regards to their attendance at the wedding? If you did, it'll help you because that solidifies the fact that the airfare and hotel was covered conditionally. The condition being attending your wedding. If she doesn't agree, take her to court if you want, but that friendship is done. Either way, the way she responds to it might give you better chances as winning in court should you want to go that route. However, you need to either talk to a lawyer or look into the laws in your area. If you can prove the offer, we'll foot the bill for travel and hotel. Acceptance, yes, we'll attend your wedding. And consideration, attendance in exchange for the trip. Breach, they did not attend, and damages, $2,000, that would strengthen your case. These are the 5 basic criteria that need to be in place to create an enforceable agreement. Best of luck and congratulations on your marriage. The OP responded, I made a video of me surprising her that I paid for her plane fare and a printed photo of the hotel room at Christmas. She didn't know that I was going to pay, and she did express that she might now be able to attend because she and her husband do not work at the moment. I told her I really wanted her to be there, and that her saying that Jim didn't want to go to the wedding was all on the text message too. Our next story is, am I the jerk for telling our roommate she might need to move out if she keeps complaining about hearing us at night? My boyfriend and I let a friend he's known since childhood stay at our place because housing is expensive and her university is nearby. She stays here 5 days a week and goes home on weekends. We don't charge her rent and we pay for utilities and groceries while she's here. She has her own bathroom and full access to basically everything. Things, the kitchen, pool, sauna, etc. Her bedroom isn't next to ours. Between our bedroom and her space is a computer/working room, and her bathroom is also in between, so there is some separation. A few months ago, she told us she could hear us being intimate at night, and it made her uncomfortable. We said that we would try to be quieter when she's around. Since then, she's brought it up multiple times. Recently, she asked if she could switch rooms. The only rooms we could realistically swap would be the one my 7-year-old sister uses when she sleeps over, or my hobby room. All the other rooms are already set up permanently. We don't want to rearrange our home for this, especially since we intended to help her out. After the latest complaint, I told her calmly but firmly that we've adjusted as much as we think is fair. I said that if this will keep being an issue, maybe this living situation just isn't a good fit, and she might need to find another place to stay. She thinks I'm being unfair. Am I the jerk? Well, I think the thing is, unless we know, actually how loud it is, it's sorta hard to say. If you want to imagine that OP and their partner are actual adults and therefore tried to be reasonable about it, I'm gonna say it's their place. They're not the jerk. But I'm also the kind of person that thinks it is a really awkward idea that your roommate can just listen in and hear you two just going at it. A user named Pazuki123 left a comment saying, Info, are you this loud when your 7-year-old sister is there? Not the jerk. If this freeloader doesn't like it, she's welcome to leave. But let this be a lesson. You and your boyfriend don't need to take in any more charity cases. The OP responded, Nope. Her room, the 7-year-old sister, is downstairs, so there's no chance she hears us, and most of the time she's here, we don't even do it. And yeah, maybe we're not silent, but also not that loud. Thank you for your opinion. Another user named OK Tadpole left a comment saying, Not the jerk. I'm going to go full Redditor conspiracy here and offer one of the more unhinged possibilities, of which we don't have any evidence for. So here's the leap. She wants your boyfriend. It makes her uncomfortable that he's hooking up with you and not her. She hopes that by complaining, you'll stop hooking up. That will then cause problems in your relationship. Then she can sweep in and steal your man. Dun dun dun. The OP responded, well, it's not too weird to assume something like this. I've thought about it too. It would be weird because they've known each other for so long, but on the other hand, it also explains some of her behavior. Another user named Avlonic left a comment saying, Info, what are the ages of the three of you? Is she younger? Who owns the home? Have you and your boyfriend lived together for a while? How long has she been your house guest? The OP responded, she is 23, my boyfriend is 25, and I'm 22. I've lived with my boyfriend for almost 3 years, and she's been here for about 8 months. One user asked OP about what other behavior OP was referring to, and the OP replied, well, maybe I'm overthinking now, but she sometimes compares herself with me, and she feels a bit distant toward me at times, but I get along with her very well when she's not complaining about this, and she doesn't seem like the type of girl who would do this. Our next story is, am I the jerk for reacting badly to my friend's religious remark at a funeral? My 24-year-old female friend, 25-year-old female, came to the funeral for my mom, who died of cancer around Christmas time. She came over to me to give me her condolences and asked about the details of how my mom passed. I told her it was my mom's second battle with cancer and how she had lots of complications. My friend said, I'm so glad nothing like that has ever happened to me or my family. We are blessed and highly favored. God doesn't play about us. This made me extremely angry. I said, glad to know your God plays about my family and all the other people in the world dying of cancer. I caused a scene and got really upset. She and her family said I'm wrong for attacking someone just being kind and offering their condolences, and that's probably why God didn't look after my mom. I said I want them gone from the funeral. Since then, I haven't spoken to them or any of the people defending them. Am I the jerk? This is yet another in a long list of am I the jerk here stories that pop up and I go, please, somebody tell me, somebody explain to me how OP could be the jerk here. I've said similar before, but it almost feels like OP made this post just to vent. Just to kind of vent, to put it out there in the universe and kind of get it off their shoulders a little bit more. Make other people hear just how awful that supposed friend really is. Which, if that's what OP's looking for, wholeheartedly, that is a terrible friend. How are you at your friend's mom's funeral and you turn to them and say, well, glad that didn't happen to me or my family. God loves us, but not her, in so many words. Our next story is, am I the jerk for kicking out my brother after he threw a party in my house without my permission, completely trashing the place? About 2 nights ago, I received a call from my neighbor explaining that there are multiple cars outside my house and loud music coming from inside. I immediately asked my neighbor to knock on the door and ask what's going on. He was told that it was a party. I was on a night out with my girlfriend and was absolutely furious as we had previously made it clear, no parties unless I give him permission. Little backstory, my brother broke up with his girlfriend who he was living with, and we gave him a room in my house until he saved up money from his job to find a place. We obviously had some basic rules like he had to clean and help throughout the house. Anyway, I thanked my neighbor for notifying me and instantly went home. When I arrived, the music was still loud and I entered to a dirty house with glasses everywhere and a bunch of drunk men and women. I immediately found him and shut it all down. Once everybody had cleared out, we had a massive argument and I ended up kicking him out at night. The living room was completely trashed, with one of the glasses shattered all over the floor and spilled alcohol everywhere. The next day, my brother called me and we had another argument, him calling me an ignorant jerk and insulting me. Am I the jerk for kicking him out in the middle of the night? Yeah, no, OP's not the jerk here, and I think OP should just kind of ignore anything the brother's saying. You can't trust him to watch your house, you can't trust him to not have a party, so OP shouldn't trust his brother's insults either. They're all a lie as far as OP's concerned. A user named No Alternative left a comment saying, "Not the jerk, but change the locks ASAP. Get cameras. He sounds a bit unhinged and may want to retaliate." The OP responded, "I've taken his key so he doesn't have a way back into the house." Another user named Subarctic Farmer left a comment saying, "Not the jerk. I'd go no contact over that kind of crap." The OP responded to that saying, "I have no plans to go in contact with him again. I told him to find a solution as I'm not an option anymore." But with that said, the party's over. Gotta show you all to the door, as that's sadly all the time we have for today. But the good news is, if you want to keep the party going, you could check out another Am I the Jerk Here video I posted right there on the left of the screen. Or if you missed my latest video, you could check that out on the right. That said, party on, dude, and I'll see you all next time with some more stories.